Welcome to the Unshakeable Talks with me, Katy Schweiger. This is where we talk about the unshakable women behind the businesses. We are lifting the lid on what it really takes to run a business, to scale a business, to get into business, while also creating a life you love. On the Unshakeable Talks, we are all about talking about the conversations everyone is scared to talk about. We are really lifting the lid on what it really takes to become unshakable within business and life.
You might notice that this is not Katy's voice. So for those of you that can't see me, my name is Chloe Ann Collins and I have the pleasure of interviewing the unshakable woman herself, Katy, on her own podcast. So today's theme is collaboration over competition. And what better way to honour that than to get the woman herself in the hot seat. So you know her as the woman who pulls the truth out of unshakable women, and today we are pulling the truth out of her. So Katy is an incredible entrepreneur that has built multiple businesses, multiple six figures, a team of over 45 people until she pivoted her business to start something entirely new, which I am so excited to be speaking to her about today. Welcome, Katy, to Unshakable Talks.
Thank you.
This is very exciting. You have interviewed so many women on your podcast. Are you nervous to be interviewed today?
No. I fully trust you. I'm not nervous. I'm an open book, so no, it's quite interesting. I'm quite intrigued, actually.
Well, I have been so excited for today, and it was actually at an event that we were at together that I asked you, why don't you get interviewed on your podcast? Mm-hmm. Because as an unshakable woman yourself, I think there's a lot of your story that many, many people do not know, that you maybe don't speak about online. Why is that?
I don't know, actually. I think my story is quite long. Obviously, I've been doing this for so many years, and I guess I've always made it about women in general, and it maybe feels a bit off to just talk about myself. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. Even though I guess people who know my story see it as an inspiration, but it just doesn't come natural to me to put myself forward. I guess that could be one reason, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So take us back, Katy. You are obviously very clearly very entrepreneurial. So take us back to little Katy. Like, where did that entrepreneurial spirit come from?
Little Katy. The one thing I always knew was I cannot work for someone else. And this has nothing to do with not being able to conform to rules or being told what to do. But I was always really clear on how I think people should be treated, how I think I, as a customer, for example, want to be treated. And fun fact, I always wanted to work in law. Mm-hmm. My parents didn't entertain this at all. It wasn't, going to university wasn't something which was part of my kind of family's legacy. So that I always hit resistance in that department. I then, I did start an apprenticeship as a paralegal, which I packed in because I just saw, looking back, I probably thought I saw all the lawyers and all the other ones doing what I really wanted to do. And I'm here making coffees and teas and filing paperwork. I'm not here to do that. So it just didn't align with me. So I packed that in. Then I went into retail. And that was my first experience where I was forced to wear certain outfits because I was working in a women's department. I was like 17 at the time. I didn't want to dress like an old woman. And most importantly, I was forced by my supervisor to sell clothes to women, even though they looked horrendous in them. And that just never aligned with me. So this is what I mean with I couldn't conform with the rules. Mm-hmm. It just didn't sit right with me. So I always knew I wanted to do, I never knew what I wanted to do, but I always knew I can't work for someone else. And even my family, everyone around us kind of always said that.
Non-conformity.
Yeah.
Is within you, Katy. Did that show up in your childhood? Do you think your mum and your parents would say that was showing up from a young age?
I think what was always showing up was that I just got on with things. I was raised in the east of Germany, so when I was 10, my parents decided to move to the west of Germany, and that was a huge impact on the family because I had to leave my friends behind. And I think as a 10-year-old, I found that quite tricky. So I immediately had to kind of adjust because I wanted to make friends, and I was quite quick in this. So they always say within 2 weeks I changed my accent and I fitted in. My sister never did. I think she still to today has a bit of an accent, but I always just got on with it. And I've always been told Katy can do it, and I think this is, and that's not a positive negative like necessarily, but that's probably what it is. It's almost that conditioning, isn't it? Where you just get on with things.
Yes. So take us then, Katy, to the start of your entrepreneurial journey. So the woman that has moved when she's 10, she's had to fit into her new reality. She's moved into her career. She's decided, I can't work for somebody. I don't fit in with this. Where did your entrepreneurial journey really begin?
Oh, God. So there's a huge piece in between, which we probably won't have time to talk about. But I've moved to the UK at the age of 23 to try and make it a bit shorter. I had an 8-week-old baby at the time. We moved for my husband's work. It was a conscious decision I've made because I didn't want to raise my daughter as a single mom, essentially. We were put in a position, am I staying behind in Germany and he's traveling throughout the week and coming back for the weekend? But I didn't want to do that. So I've moved with him. The problem I had was, on an emotional or personal level, was I had no one. I didn't speak the language. All my family was back in Germany. I didn't have any friends. It's a country which, yes, it's a Western country, but so different. People are so different than I was around before. I had this new baby, which was always ill. My daughter was quite ill as a baby, so I felt really alone. I started going to college to learn the language, and just I didn't really put myself out there, but I did enough to kind of get in contact with other mums. And the one thing which, oh my God, it probably sounds really bad, but I couldn't bear another mum talk. I couldn't bear another conversation about the wet wash on someone's baby's back, on the diarrhea, and all of, you're a mum. All the things we need to talk about as mums. But I just always felt like there's more to me than just being a mum. Why am I being reduced to just being a mum? And I love being a mum, and I always have loved being a mum. But I just felt I lost myself completely. And then I was raised in a household where my mum worked, and my money mindset probably was always like, I have to earn my worth. I need to be independent. I need to make my own money. So I never had to make my own money within my marriage. We were financially secure. But I think this made me make the choice to wanting to do my own thing, really. And that's how it really started. The first business or entrepreneurial thing I ever did was I worked as a freelance nail technician.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
you?
You didn't know that, didn't you?
No.
No. Yeah, I did, yeah.
And that was here in the UK?
That was here in the UK because before I moved to the UK, before I fell pregnant, actually, I was made redundant and I didn't know what to do work-wise. So I was always into beauty. So I did a course of nail technician. I then found out I was pregnant. So obviously that didn't work. Then I found out I'd been moving to the UK when I was 7 months pregnant. And that was just something which I could tap into.
Yes.
There was no reason for me to go and work at Waitrose or any other supermarket because I couldn't speak the language. No one would have hired me.
Yes.
And childcare is so expensive, so it wouldn't have made any sense. My husband would have paid on childcare for me to get half the money in than what we would have paid out on childcare. So it wouldn't have made any sense financially. So that was my first kind of entrepreneurial thing, really.
I think like this will land with so many women, because I know myself, when I had my baby and my first baby, and I went back to work, I was literally just funding the childcare fees.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because as a mum, like you say, you're done with having conversation over weaning, nappies, all of the stuff that comes with mum life. And you want that independence.
Yeah.
You want a place where you're not mum, you're Katy. And people treat you as Katy, not just Robin's mum, for example. So it's so tough then when it just doesn't make sense. And I think there's a lot of pressure on women to either be a stay-at-home mum, but in nowadays to actually bring income in as well.
I think it's extremely hard because, and also I'm coming from a system where it's very easy to go to work as a mum. Like childcare in Germany is very well thought through. It is the norm that you take, I believe you have the option between 1 or 2 or 3 years out of work, reduced pay, but you still then can go back to your job. It is feasible, it's doable. And that's not the case in the UK. So I really, really struggled with this. We had to put Robin into a private nursery, which at the time, and we're talking about like 20 years ago, was £60 a day.
Yeah.
You don't earn the £60 a day even these days on minimum wage on the average job, which I would have probably qualified to with the level of non-English and no kind of university degree or anything else. So it wouldn't have made any sense.
No. So what part of this then, Katy, led you into starting your first business? Tell us more about your first business, what that looked like, and what was the real driver behind that?
Okay, so the real driver behind this was my personal experience. I didn't work as an air technician for very long because safety became an issue and a big concern for my husband. So he didn't want me to go to strangers' house, basically. So I stopped this very, very quickly. And then we started having hired help in the house. We had au pairs because for us, this was the only opportunity for me to go to college and for us also to have time together. I never wanted to just rely on outside childcare because there's different people, and I didn't like the idea of my child being passed around to strangers. So in my head, it was much better to have someone living with me who I can start to trust. She gets to know the family, she gets to know us, and she learns the language, and that was kind of what we did. So we started having au pairs. Well, this experience wasn't easy. And it had nothing to do with the girls, but it was very obvious to me that the expectations those girls had coming to a different country were completely wrong, and they were really missold a dream. And that really sparked my first idea. And I thought, I can't believe this. And because I went to college to learn English, I was in a class with all of the au pairs.
Ah, okay.
And it was really awkward because they obviously saw me as a host family, as the bad host family. So I never really fitted in, but I heard all the stories. I heard what was going on. And I thought, this is so bad. If that would be my daughter being in a foreign country at the age of, 16, 17, 18, 19, and they've been sold this dream, and then they've been used as the dog walker, as the cleaner, as the babysitter, no time off, for at the time, 60 quid a week or something it was. Something ridiculous. And really, they should only be used for tasks around the child. Like an au pair is supposed to be having quite a lot of free time as well. So I thought, if it's not out there, I'm going to create it. That was my thought behind it. So I've done a bit of research. At the time, we didn't have Facebook and all of this thing. There was a couple of online portals where you could register as families, which I've used myself. So I've used agencies, I've used the portals. I know how they work. I knew how they worked, and I just started my au pair agency.
Wow. So you were at college with, and the people you were at college with, are they coming from Germany or coming from all over?
All over the world.
To be in the UK and be au pairs. Okay, I see. So you've then noticed a gap and thought, okay, I noticed something here. I'm going to fill this. And like, what was the real passion behind that? Like, you talk about the fact that if this was my daughter in a foreign country, like, is it just, I've noticed a gap, this is a great business opportunity? Or is this like,
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't from a business perspective at all. I think, if I'm being really honest with me, any business I have ever run never really started from the monetizing kind of business kind of mindset. And if my husband is listening to this, he would say, yes, that's so true. I really had to learn this kind of whole business a mindset. It always originated from a passion, and I think it's a deep passion about people and about being truthful. Like, it didn't align with me that those girls were sold a dream and an opportunity, which is in itself a great opportunity, great way to learn a language, great way for exposure, great way to kind of get out and travel on your own for the first time. So the concept of being an au pair is great if you have a good host family.
Right, okay.
But when I started my au pair agency, I started it very differently. I've started it as an in-person agency. So I went to see every family. I wanted to see every setup, because what I've noticed is so many little things. The rooms they've been provided with weren't adequate, for example. Mm-hmm. So I made a point of assessing every house before I took them on as a client. But obviously that wasn't scalable. And what I really noticed is that people didn't really want what they were supposed to be having. They wanted the dog walker, the cleaner, the cheap stuff. I know in some countries this is very, very normal, but in Western society that is a no-go. And it was a battle.
Yes.
I was successful in what I was doing, but I didn't do that for very long because the demand turned completely different within the business.
Yes.
Which made me pivot.
Yes. So talk to us about the pivot then, Katy, because what I really see here for you is that this was such a heart-led mission. And if something is not aligned with you and you can't do it to the standards, and for everybody that's listening and not watching, Katy's standards are so high. When you come to her beautiful home to record with her, the hostessness of it is just incredible.
Thank
Literally
you.
every detail. You are really the hostess with the mostess. So your attention to detail is incredible. Your standards are very unapologetically high. And I know this just from us being friends and talking behind the scenes. So back to business, talk to us about what was the pivot? What was the pivotal moment, and what was your next move from there?
So the pivot was in 2008 when the financial crisis hit. I all of a sudden had inquiries coming in for cleaners because people had to go back to work. And I made this imaginary waiting list up. I didn't have any cleaners on my books. I said, oh yeah, I'm really sorry. We have a waiting list in your area, but if you like, I can put you on a waiting list. And everyone wanted to be put on a waiting list. And I can't remember the exact time frame, but I think it was about 4 to 6 weeks. I ended up with 24 people on the waiting list.
Wow.
And I was like, all of a sudden, no one wanted au pairs. Everyone wanted cleaners. And they were all localish within the area as well. And I had no idea how to build a cleaning business at all. All I knew was there was a demand. I had a free garage. So I said to my husband, I think I need to open a cleaning company. We have a free space. We have a free garage. So let's just put some shelves in, get some cleaning products. Again, I did it like to my standards. I wanted to provide all the cleaning liquids. I went to every house, signed every client in person, assess really the house. So I know exactly in what environment I'm sending my girls in. I hired 2 really young girls as cleaners, and this is how it all started. And it completely went from there, really.
So you built your dream business, multi 6-figure turnover, a team of over 45 cleaners from your garage, and you are still doing this with an absolute attention to detail. Like, what I really notice about you is I go to every home. I want to know where I'm sending my girls. Like, your standards are so high. So tell us more about this business, because you no longer have your cleaning business. No. So what was your journey with the business in terms of, did you love the business? What was your personal experience with building a multi-six-figure business from your garage. What was your personal experience with building that?
I think that's quite a complex story. I absolutely loved my business. But I also didn't love my business in the end. My business did break me in the end, to make a long story short. But I think what I found really difficult, within a year, the business grew really, really quick. So we actually downsized the house, and I then rented out premises for the business because I wanted to separate the business from my private life. I had to hire more people. Generally, people who would work in the industry aren't really the same kind of people I would align myself privately, and I wanted my private life separate. I had a small child. I had a husband in a very successful job. I needed to have I knew how my life, what it looks on the outside, how it's being perceived, and what comes with it, what potentially could come with this. I experienced it. I knew what it is. So I wanted to have that separately, which I did. But with this came obviously a whole other side of business, big overheads of rents, insurances, and all of those things, all the legal aspect of employing so many people. And me being German, playing by the rules, trying to do things properly. The best investment I've done within my business from day dot was I hired a HR company. I signed up to an HR company who helped me draw up all the contracts and manage my employees because I didn't know anything about the law in England. All I knew was that it is incredibly easy to do anything here. So that the regulations aren't really that tight, at least not back in the days. So that was a really smart move, I must say, because that saved me not the heartache, but a lot of money in the long run. Because obviously with having staff, there's so many issues. And I suppose this is what really what you refer to, my attention to details and the kind of person I am, and the amount of I care about people really bit me in the butt a bit, because it didn't align with the kind of business I've built at all.
Yeah.
Because my kindness was my weakness, and it became my weakness, and it became what broke me in the end, in hindsight, really. I mean, hindsight is a beautiful thing. I don't regret a single thing I've done. But within that industry, kindness isn't what will make you succeed.
Yeah.
It's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, and it's such a shame when that happens, especially when your standards are so high. You're wearing your heart on your sleeve, if you like. It's your heart, it's your business on the line. I know so many people will resonate with it. Like, your business almost becomes your baby. Oh, it's like another part of you.
It became me. I became my business, but this is exactly the problem. And we spoke about this before. And I think I had to learn this really the hard way, but me learning this enabled me to do the work I'm doing now.
Yes.
So it all kind of leads into, like, everything happens for a reason within life, doesn't it? But I absolutely loved my business. I loved my clients, even the most difficult clients. And let me tell you, there's so many difficult clients. I mean, my favorite call I always got was, I would like to have a cleaner. And then I go through the whole shebang saying, okay, specifics about your house. So it's a 4-bedroom house, 3 bathrooms, 2 living rooms. I only want to book 2 hours.
Yeah.
So my answer is, if anyone is listening and feels called out, honey, if you can clean your house in 2 hours, you will do it yourself. You're not going to hire someone.
Yes.
But there's been a lot of challenges along the way, which I absolutely enjoyed and loved and thrived on. But I think staff is the biggest challenge in every business.
Yes. Well, you're managing people, aren't you? Like, it's so different to managing product.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many other variables that come with managing people. And like you say, having HR, having insurances, having like control over people, and having people show up for your standards is always like you're trusting people with your business as well.
I think the biggest mistake I have made, and see a lot of women are making, is we all have obviously a vision and a mission. We're starting our businesses from quite often a great place of pain. And therefore, what we want to achieve and what we put in our business is so different to anyone you will ever hire. And I put so much effort into trying to, especially the people who used to work at my offices over the years, they used to be quite young, and I used to want to give them opportunities. I put them on courses, and I tried to kind of coach them through life and saying, okay, this is maybe just an admin job, but you can make so much more out of your life. They weren't interested. But I wasn't seeing this. I was just being me. I just was being Katy, the supportive one, and wanting everyone around me to do well. But really, it depleted me subconsciously quite a bit. And I had to learn this the hard way. And if anyone is listening, I think we need to be really clear about why we're doing business and manage our own expectations, what we have about people around us. If that is staff or other people who are supporting us within our business, they will never care the same way than you do. They will never put the same input in. Why should they? They're there to get a paycheck. That's all it is.
So speaking about, you mentioned businesses being born from pain. So over 45 staff, multi-six-figure business, the dream life on paper. What really then led you to essentially burning that business down, closing that business down, a business that so many people would dream to have, multi-six-figure, husband, house, daughter, everything on paper. What led you to closing that down, and what was really the driver behind the woman that you are now that's building this incredible movement that you're building?
It's a few things. Just before COVID, we were quite humbled within ourselves and our lives because we had a tragic family scenario happening, which forced me to concentrate on my family rather than on my business. And what I've really noticed then was that I am the business. My business doesn't function without me. And even though I had the staff I had at the time, one particular person was extremely supportive, and I wouldn't have been able to continue the business without her. No question, there's no question about that. It was very obvious that I was the business. Without me, that business wouldn't function. Then COVID happened. And because I was doing domestic cleaning rather than commercial cleaning, I actually closed my business the week before the announcement came that we all had to close, because I felt this is the right thing to do. And I didn't expect it to be closing that long. I thought it was going to be 2-3 weeks. I thought, you know what, I need a break anyways. 3 weeks, I can handle cash flow wise. And I need a break. Maybe that's the universe sending me a sign kind of thing.
Yes.
So I closed my business. Then lockdown happened, and lockdown gave me time to slow down. It forced me, we had a great time at lockdown. It was the first time for our family to just be us without outside noise, which we desperately needed at that time. But it forced me to look at my life a bit more. I then went on a family holiday. I think it was 2021. I took my parents to Mexico. Again, something why I started working. I always wanted to be able to do this for my parents without having to rely on my husband's income. And I just had a moment where I felt incredibly happy. Unhappy. My husband, we went on a romantic walk, and he said to me, "You okay?" And I just couldn't say yes again. No, I'm going to get emotional. And I think that was the moment for me where I knew I had to change something. And coming back from the holiday, obviously COVID stopped. I did reopen. It never felt the same. I tried. Could I have built it up again? Yeah, absolutely. Probably would. I had the skills. I had the strategy. I had the style. I had everything there on paper. But I wasn't well enough within myself to do that.
Yeah.
So I should have taken the decision earlier in hindsight. I need a tissue now. But I took the decision to close it down. Again, it was the first time where I actually took advantage of not having to work financially. My husband said, "What are you doing? What are you actually doing?" So I shut the business down and made everyone redundant. It worked quite well, for my core members in the office, personal situation as well. And I had to take a really good look at myself and my life, really. And I saw how broken I personally actually was. My life was still perfect. Everyone, no one saw this coming at all. And I bet there are a lot of people listening who never knew that part about me. But yeah, I spent a good 2 years just really picking myself up again. And this is which led me into the work I'm doing now, really.
Should we get you a tissue?
No, it's fine.
Are you sure?
Sorry.
Because we can edit this part out, can't we?
It's all right. I wasn't planning on crying.
Aww.
We can keep this in, it's fine.
It's normally me that cries, actually. Like, it's so funny being on the other side.
I've been good. This year I haven't cried yet, so number one. Anyways.
Well, I feel very honoured to hold this
Yes.
space with you. And it's such a powerful conversation. I think just, like, tell us about... So this journey, this moment, you're on a romantic walk, you're in Mexico again on paper, like you've done what you dreamed of doing. You've taken your family on holiday. You always wanted to be able to do that for your parents without your husband's income. And you've been asked the question, like, are you okay? No, I am not okay. I need to take some time for me. I'm going to close down my business. So tell us about the Unshakable Woman. What makes an unshakable woman, and how did you discover that on your journey?
So what makes an unshakable woman for me is we are wobbling. Life throws shit at us all the time. There's no way to stop this. But what makes me unshakable and what makes a woman unshakable is that we just wobble. We don't break. We don't completely self-sabotage. We don't completely stop everything we're doing, and life doesn't fall apart anymore. Yes, it wobbles, and yes, sometimes we are going to be shaken a bit harder. And I had many situations like this since, but the difference now is I'm very able and very easily able to pick myself up again. I will not sit within this feeling of frustration, fear, anxiety, or whatever it is. There's so many. I'm able to recognize it for what it is, turn it around and carry on. It will not stop me in my normal day-to-day. It will not hold me back within my mission and my business or whatever I want to do, for that matter of fact. I can say I'm so much more balanced. I'm a truly better person for everyone around me as well. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. All starts with you. Like, you can do whatever you want. I can give you the best business strategy. If you're not the person who can actually carry out that strategy, you will not achieve what you can achieve to your full potential. So it all starts with you, and I had to learn this the hard way. But actually doing this work on myself and putting myself forward was the best thing I've ever done. And that applies to any area in life. It applies to friendship, it applies to relationships, it applies to business, to the relationship you have with yourself. Obviously, it sounds all very airy-fairy and lovely, and it's nice to be selfish. It's a process. It's a hard thing to do. It's a lot of shedding you have to do. A lot of friendships shedded away, for example. And actually being able to do this with ease and not feeling like you failed. I think that was a big thing for me. Making the decision, I felt really guilty for feeling unhappy, because on paper I shouldn't be unhappy. My life looks like what many people so desperately want. And I was still so unhappy. So I felt really ungrateful and really like, I shouldn't feel like this. Why am I feeling like this?
I think we can place so much shame. Like, I had a very similar experience myself, like feeling unfulfilled after I had my children, healthy children, lovely family, yet something is missing. Yeah. And I think we can place so much shame on ourselves and guilt on ourselves for that. But actually, why should we? Why should we? Like, you get to live and exist and experience the life that you make. And for you, Katy, like, you've seen the strategy side. You've built 2 successful businesses and chosen to walk away because you've realized, actually, it's the woman behind the business that is going to make or break the success. And is it all worth it if you're building a dream on paper, but actually you don't feel it inside, and it's only so long before it's not a decision to close the business. It's like, I have to.
But I also like to point out, I had to.
Yeah.
It wasn't a decision which I could easily make. I had to walk away because I physically and mentally wasn't well enough to continue my life the way I was living. So I had this decision was essentially taken out of my power. And I think this is why I'm also so passionate about what I do now, because I don't want anyone to come to that point, because it's not a nice point to be. It's quite an ugly place, really. And there is, I think, if we, especially as women, and I hear this all the time, is that, oh, it's so much harder to work as a woman, it's so much harder to run a business as a woman. I actually completely disagree. I don't think it is harder than what men are going through. I actually think it's just different hard. We are wired differently, so we have to really notice this. We are just different people, and our day-to-day, generally speaking, within like a normal life setting, is different. So we require different things. And as soon as you kind of get your head around this and almost step out of this victim mentality, things start to shift and take into place. And we need to be kind to ourselves. Nothing happens overnight. I had a lot of work, like help. I had therapy as well. So I didn't do this all just on my own. I had support. I had I have an extremely supportive husband, and a lot of women don't have this. So it is a process. It's not an easy process. And you know how it is, and with the women you work with. But it's so important we do this, and it's so important that we women stop trying to be like this perfect woman everyone wants us to be. Nothing in life is perfect. Kids aren't perfect. Life isn't perfect. Relationships aren't perfect. Business isn't perfect. And there's so many aspects we can't control, but feel like we have to control to get through the day. And as soon as you kind of eliminate this from your whole being, things are getting so much easier.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like this is why conversations like this, the movement that you're building with Unshakeable Talks, is so powerful, because it's the real story behind the Instagram story. And I think for so many women stepping into this space that are so inspired by the six-figure businesses, by the on-paper dream, that actually being the unshakable woman behind the scenes is the most important thing. And Katy, you talked about the support that you had. You know, you've had support, you've had therapy, you've had mentors. It really does take a village, and lots of people will resonate with this in terms of motherhood. They say it takes a village, although I'm literally still trying to find the village. You know, it takes a village. But what does that actually look like? What does that village look like for women in business?
So for me, and I just had this realization really in January this year, if I'm being really honest. So I spent obviously the last 18 months in moving into the online kind of business world, which was completely foreign to me. And I really used the last 18 months as research, because I've always done mentoring and business coaching with women on a one-to-one basis. I helped so many women build their business or move from 9 to 5 into a business setting. And I love that work. And that's my jam. That's what I'm good at. But I wanted to find a way to make this more open to every woman out there. And also my personal journey is, I have obviously a goal in life. I would like to move to Mallorca in a couple of years with my husband. So, and I never wanted to build a business again where I'm relying on staff. Never wanted to do that again. I have obviously a team, but this is all freelance, because there's a different motivation behind when you work freelance. You and I know this.
Yes.
You show up differently for your work. So for me, what it really looks like to be an unshakable woman and within business and all of this, you mentioned it takes a village. We know the saying when it comes to raising kids. I actually think it takes a village to do life and to be yourself. I think female entrepreneurship for me was the most loneliest time in my life. And therefore it made it really hard, because I was around women who, like my daughter went to private school. Most of the private school mummies, and there's no shame in this at all, but they didn't understand that I was working. They couldn't wrap their head around it. In fact, my best friend at the time, when I've told her that I'm going to open an au pair agency, and I was so excited, she looked me dead in the eye and she said, "What? Isn't Marcus earning enough money?" And that sentence stuck with me for so long. And I didn't act, and she laughed at me. And I did that. I expected any reaction, but just not that, to be
Yes.
honest with you.
Yes.
But thinking back, it's like, I know now why she reacted like this. And a lot of the times when people react like this, it comes from a really great place of unhappiness with their own life. And because a lot of women see each other really as competition and envious about someone's business, someone's life, someone's relationship, or someone's living condition, or whatever it is, it almost consumes you so much that you can't see how much benefit you would actually have if you would connect with that person. Just on a really neutral ground and just say, hi, I really love what you're doing. I find this really inspiring. This little message in my world, the world I want to create, trickles into, oh, thank you for reaching out. That's so nice to hear. What is it you're doing? It sparks a conversation.
Yes.
It creates friendships. It creates connections. And I mean, I have incredible women around me now. Look, you're doing the interview for me now. It's like we can learn so much from each other. We can support so much from each other. And in turn, earn from each other as well, from each other's networks, from each other's recommendations. And yeah, that's really what my greater ambition is. I want women to stop seeing each other as competition and really, I want to create this movement where we all support, cheer each other on, and help each other out, because Jesus knows we need help.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not even for you, Katy, about wanting to create this movement. Like, this is something that you're building. Like, when people are in your presence, when they're coming to your home, I know this, I've been a guest on this podcast. I'm now grateful enough to be interviewing you on this podcast, that there is so much space for collaboration and for being supported. I always feel so nurtured in your presence. And I love this so much. So what really changes when a woman feels supported?
I think everything, because think about it this way. I always say my biggest breakthroughs really happened in situations where we were just sitting on the kitchen table having random conversations, and someone just holds up the mirror and says, but Katy, this is what I see in you. I'm like, what? This is what you see? I don't see this in myself, kind of way. Or around the fire pit in the summer at 2 a.m. I had I can still remember that, a conversation with a couple of friends. I was hosting a big barbecue at the house, and we ended up sitting here until 2 a.m. around the fire. I was super tired, and I was thinking, when the hell are you going? To be honest. But we were having so many conversations, and this one particular conversation, she's like, you need to do this. They were picking up on like who I am as a person, how I make people feel. And I'm not going to lie, I don't see this a lot, like all the time in myself. I'm not the greatest in kind of complimenting myself. I think we women in general are really bad in this, because we function a lot under pressure and doing things in the way we think we should. And therefore, we really, really, really miss to see how great we actually are. And hearing it from your husband, your mom, your dad, or family is great.
It is, yeah.
But they kind of have to say it.
They're biased.
Hearing it from other women is a whole nother story. I think getting the support from other women, and especially if it's women you kind of admire or to look at, or you can't, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, and women on the same journey, right? Because I think entrepreneurship, you will know this, like you said, you've built your businesses, dream life on paper, and you said, I was lonely.
Yeah.
You're not lonely in your family, you're rich in family life, but actually it can be very lonely, and just being able to sit around a kitchen table, have a coffee, and have a conversation with someone that actually really understands, when I'm telling you about this challenge that I'm facing, you understand the whole context, because you understand business, you understand the pressure and responsibility that comes when you have a soul-led purpose of creating a movement. So I think this is so powerful. So Katy, speak to us about what's coming. You're speaking about the movement, Unshakeable Talks, collaboration over competition. There's a lot of competition out there that we don't want to see anymore. So talk to us about your movement. Why is this so powerful?
Okay, so one big mistake I've made throughout life and throughout motherhood as well, I was always seeking my circle, the circle I had, i.e. friends, family, people around me. I was seeking validation from them in every aspect of my life. So that was business. That was I wanted to obviously know that they think I'm a good mom, and I wanted them to be proud of me that I'm running a good business. I wanted them also to understand my struggles within business and being a mom and being alone in a foreign country and all of those kind of things which applied to me. So I've made the mistake to really putting the wrong expectation on the people around me. But really what we need as women, in my humble opinion, is we need different circles. You have young children. I don't have, my daughter's 23, but when you have young children, yes, you need your mommy friends. You need the moms you meet at the school gate, and this is like your mommy circle. You need, obviously family will always be there in most cases, and they will have their opinion and whatever that is. Family is difficult, but you have your kind of family circle. You have your husband, your immediate family, and wider family. You have your family circle. Then you have your friends from who know you before your business journey. Let's take a businesswoman as an example. Before your business journey, maybe from university, maybe from school, you've got those friends, that circle, and then you need to create, which is so important, your business besties.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
100%.
You need people who understand your Delali ideas. You need people who understand the struggles. You need people who understand when you feel this mum guilt. We speak about mum guilt all the time.
Yes.
Everyone has mum guilt, but it hits differently if you know you have to go into the office for a meeting and you know your daughter has the sniffles at home and you really want to be at home, but the nanny has to look after her because you know you have to go into the office for your job. It hits differently, and you need people who are in the same environment to understand this.
Yes.
Because some people may say to you, Chloe, it's half term, you have your own business. Don't you do it for time freedom? Why are you not with your children this half term? Why are you sitting here on the Unshakeable Talks?
Yes.
So you need people to understand Chloe is doing this because this is work, this is what she's passionate about. And she can still be a good mom and be doing what she wants to be doing. But someone who isn't on the same path or a similar path will never understand this.
No.
And that realization, and obviously the kind of woman I am, the experience I had, the huge amount of loneliness I felt being a female entrepreneur, led me really to the passion of trying to create a community of women who is two parts. A, put themselves finally first. Like my core work, it is so important to start with yourself. And if you imagine a round mirror and you look in it, who do you see? You see yourself. This is where it all starts and ends. It's always you. So there's this part, obviously, of the Unshakable Circle. I said it now. That's what it's going to be called. I haven't actually spoken about this. And then there is the part I'm so passionate about, is the collaboration, the community. It's the learning from each other, it's the connections, the friendships to be building. It's, you built your business. I mean, I don't know how you are a crafter. You work so hard. You haven't watched TV in 3 years. I mean, that's mind-blowing. But, you are very good in kind of self-motivating yourself and learning and everything. And there's so much to learn when you build a business, isn't it? And in turn, there's so much you have to invest in yourself, money-wise as well, in courses, in like educational material and stuff like this. But I feel there is a really huge place for actually offering what you can give to other women to a certain extent for free.
Yeah.
For the collaborative way.
Yeah.
And every woman in my life has definitely benefited from my work, from the things I do. I help out anyone who I can.
Yeah.
And I have definitely benefited from women in my circle as well. And I'm not talking about trying to get everything for free to set up a business. I'm talking about we have a mutual friend, Vemi. Vemi is always my favorite example because I know Vemi for many years when she first started her company. Obviously, we have a friendship. I can go to Vemi and ask her a question if I'm stuck. I send her a message and say, what do you think about this?
Yes.
And as a friend and as a supporter, she will always answer this. She won't send me a Stripe link to say, I tell you, once you pay this.
Yeah.
But equally, I pay my way with Vemi. If I want her to get involved in anything, I will pay her rate. I will pay. If I attend her events, I will pay my ticket full price. If I attend her retreat, which I have done, I was the first to book.
Yes.
Because I put my money where my mouth is.
Yes.
But I think there is such a big place to support each other with little things.
Yeah. And being able to have those people, like I know from my own journey where I started, very young children, being able to have people that you can reach out to for that one question, for that one piece of like, what do you think about this? Am I on the right track? How is this landing? I've got this crazy idea, without it having to be gatekept behind a huge wall of like, and I speak for myself here. I don't know if you had a similar experience where like I've made an investment because I've read a sales page or I've read something and I'm like, that sounds like it, and it's just not what I need. So even having collaboration with people and actually I need this. No. I think what you need is this. Let me tell you why. And having people that can hold mirrors up to you, see your blind spots is so, so powerful. So I am so excited for this.
And on this, one of the big aspects of the Unshakable Circle will always be in-person collaboration. So we're going to do monthly in-person meetings. Working together with amazing women who can cover the other areas in the UK as well, which is great. And in kind of online spaces, I want people to come and display their craft. I want them to talk about the work they're doing. Because what you just described, you're investing in a program without actually knowing what it's all about. It sounds good on a sales page. So if someone is really good at marketing, you will naturally buy into it. There's a buyer psychology behind it. But is that actually the right thing for you? So actually seeing someone in a masterclass, maybe telling you about what they're doing, you can gauge, okay, it's interesting, but not right now for me, but I got a few tips. But when you're at this point to wanting to hire this person, you will remember that person because you already have made that genuine connection with them. Yes. And that's exactly the kind of space I want to create. I want us to collaborate. I want us to trust each other. I want us to help each other out and hire each other from a point of trust.
Yeah. For me, and I know for so many others, that is the biggest part. When I know you and I know you behind the scenes, I know your values, I know what's important to you, I know that you see me, I know you can hold space for me, then I want to invest in you.
Yeah.
And it's so important to not lose that in the business. I think you can get lost, and there's some really, really massive spaces out there which are absolutely incredible, and there's a space for them all. But I think having a circle of people that have your back, that you can collaborate with, you can connect with, is just so important when you're building and growing and scaling your businesses and your life, right?
Yeah.
Because life's going to chuck you challenges all the time.
Oh my God, all the time. And I'm so passionate about it. Even if I only have one person who wants to sign up, I will still run it.
Yes.
We're going to circle it all the way in an unshakable way.
Let's go. I'm so excited. Well, you heard it here first, Katy. It's been absolutely incredible speaking to you today. And yeah.
Thank you for
the
interviewing me.
Unshakable woman herself.
You made me cry, so thank you. If you've been feeling stuck or disconnected from the woman behind your business, this is your sign. The Identity Shake-Up is my new free audio, a short, powerful reset to help you to get clear on the person who you've become and the person your business needs next. Head to the link in the show notes to access it today.